This week's reading has Moshe taking the opportunity to sum up the history of his nation over the past, give or take, 40 years. Why? Okay, so there was this thing that a goodly number of the Hebrews had died in the desert. The people who were going into the land of Israel were not the same people who had left the land of Egypt. But some of them would have been the same. Regardless, it's important to take stock. Because the fact is that he wasn't going to go. His 2IC, Yehoshua, was going to be taking them into the land. And they were starting a new chapter. And the truth is that life is the present. Life is not in the past. The past is gone. You can't change it. Sometimes it's not good to dwell on the past. Life is in the present and goes into the future. But the key to the future is the present. Where we are now, the decisions we make. And the present, where we find ourselves now, is determined by what happened in the past. Seeing how past actions and events brought us to the current state will help us determine what works, what doesn't work, what should we do, what should we not do, how should we act, how should we not act. The decisions now will determine the future. Now, of course, we can't ever determine the future with complete certainty. But seeing how A led to B will help us work out how we can get from B to C. We learn the concepts of cause and effect. It's called learning by experience. When I was in high school, I actually had a counselor in the school who had a sign on his office door that said, "Learn from the mistakes of others." In addition to learning from your own mistakes, obviously you learn from your mistakes as you grow up, but his sign said, "Learn from the mistakes of others because you can't live long enough to make them all yourself." So yes, these were our ancestors who made these mistakes. But by analyzing them, seeing the consequences, the historical trends, we can work out how not to make these mistakes, what decisions we should make going forward. I suppose that's the lesson for Tisha B'Av as well, which is right around this time of year. The destruction of the temple and all that, we have suffered great tragedies of our history. And we are still suffering because of our ancestors' mistakes. But that's the thing, it's not just that. It's the fact that we are keeping up with those mistakes. We haven't learned from their lessons. We haven't learned not to do what doesn't work. So take stock. Think about it. Try something different. Try something better. And let's see whether we can make a better future. Shabbat Shalom.